Well, we'll say this first. The documentary was good, and it gave a lot of information I didn't even know. But a few things that I particularly wanted to expound upon was the fact that I didn't leave my niece in the studio by herself, number one. I saw her that evening walking into the studio to record for my album. And in seeing her, I was just like, what you doing here? Who's with you? Because I didn't see anybody. And she was like, oh, I was dropped off. And I was like, huh? Immediately got on the phone with my sister. What y'all doing? Why is she down here by herself? And then maybe 30 minutes to an hour later, my brother-in-law was walking in the door. So I never, ever left my niece alone, anywhere, for that matter. Another piece that I think was left out actually, is that I just introduced my niece to Robert, which was not true. Yes, I did introduce her, but I introduced a bevy of family to him. I introduced her correctly. Her parents brought her down to the studio, and that's where the introduction happened. It wasn't her by herself. It wasn't me picking her up, and her parents came, and that's how the introduction happened. Like I stated, I introduced most of my family to Robert because we're a musical family, you know what I'm saying? And he had just gotten the green light on a new situation at Interscope Records, where he was taking me, and where my debut album actually came from. And I wanted him to possibly put my family on, you know what I mean? Bless them like he was blessing me. Bring them into stardom as he was about to do with me. You know what I mean? So, and I didn't want to be selfish with my gift. I wanted to spread the love, like I stated, because we are a musical family. And, maybe he could position them in some spots that were unfilled yet. Because having a new situation, you're going to need some bodies, right? You're going to need some, extra hands or some extra artists. So, my niece was a dope rapper at the time. My other nieces and nephews that I introduced him to also, they had great success overseas. And so maybe he can bring them on, as artists. My brother-in-law, who I introduced him to, which was my niece on the tape's father, he plays guitar, dope guitarist. I begged Robert to give him, a try. He did, and he's on many of his CDs now. So yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to clear up. And also about the Andrea situation, Robert's ex-wife. The situation where I speak about, I hear somebody knocking. And, he does a, come on, she peeps out and says, can I come get something to eat? She's coming down the stairs, and I am staring at Robert like, how dare you? How dare you? You are a piece of work. And he saw the he felt me because he kept looking at TV, right? But when he felt it, he looked over at me and he just started, and I was like, forgive my language, nigga, that shit ain't funny. And I said those words to him, and I said, how dare you? So I wanted to clear that up, so. Let's go there. 89, I met Robert. A girlfriend of mine took me down to the studio, and she wanted me to sing for him. I didn't sing that particular time. So 89 to 92 had no really interaction with Robert at all. I would see him out in clubs here and there, whatever, but no interaction. 92, I started dating one of the guys in Public Announcement, which led me back to Robert. And he got to hear me sing at that particular time and wanted me to come down to the studio to sing some backgrounds for a new artist that he was working with. Unbeknownst to me, it was Aaliyah. Got to work and do most of the backgrounds on her album, except for AJ None But a Number. And at that point, I was working a 9-to-5 job, okay? I was leaving that job, coming to the studio to do another job. And there was very little, me and Aaliyah interacted, a little bit, But I was there to do a job, so there wasn't much interaction. She was around the studio. There were 3 other girls who Robert had brought on prior to me, brought on, and they were called, they were the group called Second Chapter. I don't know if you listen to Aaliyah's first album and you hear reference of the group Second Chapter. Those are the girls who were backing Aaliyah up, kind of like a R.Kelly in Public Announcement, if you will. So yeah, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary in that time. This was '92 when I came back around and I started singing the backgrounds for her debut album. Now, mind you, her uncle, Barry Hankerson, is there. He's Robert's manager. Her parents are there. I wasn't thinking of, or even think to look for anything, at that particular time. So, I was there to do the job. Like I said, I would go home, come back, and do the, same job over and over again until we were done with the Aaliyah project. And then I had no connection or any, dealings with Robert until 1996. So I wasn't there a steady period of time to see anything. You know what I mean? And in '96, when I was called upon to do more background, I, was singing in the studio, doing the background, what have you. And 2 songs in, he came into the booth with me and he was like, look, we're not just going to be working on anybody's CD this time. This is yours. And I'm like, yo, whoa. All right, let's go. Of course, I was elated by it because I'm like, yo, I'm about to work on my own stuff now. This is about to be great. So that happened, '96. Going to '97 is, I want to say '97 is the year I introduced my niece to him. Early '97, I do believe. And then there was a hiccup. And the hiccup was, I had a boyfriend. Robert didn't want me to have a boyfriend. Now, mind you, Robert liked me, of course. Not of course, but Robert liked me. And I wasn't giving in to his advances toward me. He was a handsome guy, but I wouldn't go there. You know what I mean? And it was just something about him too. But anywho, there was a situation where Robert had told me that he was taking only me to Interscope Records and not the other acts that he had kind of brought in. They would be staying on Jive Records. So now I told someone about this, and that person went back and told Robert that I told. Then the fact that I had a boyfriend, he didn't want me to have a boyfriend. This all played into his, I guess, insecurity. And he decided to take my deal away from me. And this went on for some months. We didn't speak. He didn't call. I didn't call him. And then a meeting was to take place. Someone called a meeting to get us back into good graces. And I'm certain it was probably something to do with Interscope Records because they had spent out a pretty penny on me. I had done the Be Careful video already. The promotions and stuff had kind of started. So they would be losing money if he were to do this. So a meeting was called, and we met at a hotel near the O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Barry Hankerson, which was his manager at the time, Robert, me, and I wanted my parents to come with me. Then my sister, with the girl in the tape, and my brother-in-law also came because now they're like this. They thick as thieves right now. Without me, I'm not in the picture. You know what I mean? They stayed. And a couple other family members also were there. Barry Hankerson and Robert, me, and my parents. The meeting got along. Barry Hankerson was doing a lot of the talking. Robert did speak some. And what he said out of his mouth next, I almost sank down into the chair that I was sitting in. He stated to my parents, your daughter's so fine, I jerk off just looking at her. To my mom and my dad. Do you know how I felt at that moment? My mom and my dad. You know what I mean? So that happened. We left the meeting. I was appalled. My dad spoke some words to me, which I won't repeat, but I should have listened to him. Just let me say that. Then we kind of didn't really gel that well, but I came back on. Then 99 happened, and I was starting to work on my second album. I asked to be released from him in 99 because it wasn't a happy place for me anymore, and because he was trying to insert himself in my personal life, and I wasn't cool with that. So I asked to be released. He finally granted me the release, and then I went on to Motown. So I had nothing to do with him from that point on. Later on, mid-2001, I get a phone call, two actually, from two separate people in Roberts Camp. And they stated to me, yo, you need to see what's up. Your niece is down here by herself. Something don't look right, something not right. You need to check this out. So what I did was I called my sister and I screamed at her like, what you on? You know, what's going on? What are you doing? I'm hearing rumblings that my niece is down there by herself. What's up? So she was like, oh no, everything is cool, you know, nothing is going on, you know, just oblivious, naive, or whatever she is at this point. And so what I did next was I myself, along with two of my girlfriends, called the Department of Children and Family Services. Now, this is before the tape even surfaced, or me even knowing anything about a tape. I called them because I wanted them to check some stuff out. And they did. They came out to my parents' house. They spoke to my sister-in-law, my sister and my brother-in-law, and my niece. And my brother-in-law stated to them, oh, nothing is going on. No, 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 because if anything was going on, I would deal with him. Okay. So, of course, they felt that I'm the culprit. I did that deed. I called that number and had them investigated, you know. So now they've taken a back seat and I'm not included on anything at this point. If I enter the room, it's crickets. You know what I mean? Late 2001, probably September-ish, my family had a bowling party, and I end up going to it. And guess who's there? Robert. And I'm like uneasy, and I want to snap off, but it's too many people there. And if I were to do anything, you know, it would be crazy up in there. So we did have a few words, and he was like, yo, you know, we still family, you know, yeah, here go my number. Won't you call me? You can come down to the studio. It's still what it is. I ain't call him. I ain't go to no studio. I ended up leaving very quickly. You know, I don't know, and it boggles me to today, and I be thinking like, okay, does he have something on them? Is he threatening them? Did they sign some type of non-disclosure agreement where they can't talk? Like, what is it? I really want to know, because there would be no way for me not to protect my daughter. You know what I mean? Like, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? So I don't know. I don't know. I hope so. Like, he's clearly done this to a host of girls, women. Like, I hope so. I hope this time, you know, now that I have some help, now that I got some people behind me, like, come on, y'all. Let's stand for something. Let's not just let this go by the wayside again. You know, I stood alone from 2001 to today. People are coming out now. People are, having the oomph to speak out now, thankfully. And I'm happy about it. I'm happy for the movements. I'm happy for the Me Too and the Time's Up, but I wish I had that back then, because I'm sure we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this today.
So funny, so funny.
It could be that I have a bigger name than he, that my light shines a little brighter. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but to me, I feel like black women, and I stated this on the Surviving R.Kelly piece, that we don't get the same recognition than our white counterparts. And I truly believe that, because I feel like they don't give a two hoots about us, really. And, we care so much about our brothers that I wish they would care that much about us. It's baffling. It's disheartening. It's a lot of different adjectives. I just, it's hurtful too at times. But, I think also that people don't want to see the Jolly Green Giant fall in Robert. That's what I'm calling him. He's been that it guy for our generation, for singers, that they don't want to see him fall by any means. So if he's doing something to some young girl, okay, well, let's just turn a blind eye to it.
So funny, so funny.
You know what? People gonna say what they gonna say, and they've been saying it for forever. I did not. I have been working on my new EP since late 2017. The documentary didn't come to me until February, March. They approached me then. I had a few songs in the can already that I was going to release before this song we already came out. I went back in the studio after I agreed to do the documentary, because I wanted to speak to this moment, to this time, to empower us women, to say, girl, I got you. Girl, stand on my shoulders. If you too afraid to speak up, I'll hold your hand and I'll speak for you. I wanted to speak to that moment. And, if I was to come out with a club joint, y'all be looking at me crazy. Like, what's she talking about? I'm talking about this moment. I'm talking about the moment that I'm in. I'm talking about the moment that I took hits for. I took, my career. I laid down my career for this. I took many hits for this. So, for them to say that, say what you're going to say. But also, the song, I am giving back with this song. You know what I mean? A percentage of the proceeds are going to houses that, specifically deal with abused women, sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. So, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. They would like to have kept me silent. And, for a time, I did go away. I'm just thinking back, and I moved to Vegas, Las Vegas. So it was a woman who came and picked me up off the floor and said, come on out here, girl. I got a gig for you so you can eat. My big sis mentor, Tony Braxton, and the Braxtons, they were, other than my partner in life and in business, he and his family having my back and holding me up, the Braxtons were definitely there as a sisterhood. Because at this point, I have no sisters. They ain't talking to me. None of my family is speaking to me, except for one of my brothers. And he's had my back from day one, Benny. But they held me up. Tony told me, come out there. I got you. And I did her show with her on the Strip for 3 years and loved them for it because they were the only ones really who had my back as well. So from 2001 to 2011, didn't have no dealings with them. I would come and visit my parents here and there, and if they were there, they would quickly leave. Got to get up out of here, But what brought us back together in 2011 was my parents' 50th anniversary. And we put them a big shindig on for their 50th. And it brought us back together in a big way. And from 2011 till right when the trailer dropped for this thing, we've been rocking. I lost my mom October. And after we laid her to rest, 2 days later, the trailer dropped. And then we were back right where we were as if it was '01 again. And even worse because now we're older. You know what I mean? I hope it's legit. I hope they are really speaking out for us and wanting to get behind us. But I think they're doing that to, some of them are doing that in hopes that some light won't be shined on them because maybe they too have been a party to some of the shenanigans, whether it be that craziness that Robert is into or something different. You know what I mean? But I really hope that they're legitimate in their wanting to speak up and speak out and get behind me. You know what I mean? But I ain't heard from nobody. The Braxtons, of course, yeah. But nobody else has really reached out like that and said, you go, girl, But God got me. He's the ultimate, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna stand on.